Hello everybody, Brent Miller here from the Great Void before I joined 77 Media. Then I created 77 Media and I came out of the void. And as such, 77 Media was created to help my mom push out cat thoughts videos from her Blue Iris Learning Center. And today I'm doing a little bit of an intro to this video because we had a little bit of a sound problem after we filmed the first video in our series that we started a couple of weeks ago when we started recording again. And the problem was we decided to do a back and forth discussion, me and my mom, after we were done recording the other videos. And when we did this, we had to move one of the microphones. And when we did that, the microphone itself became slightly unplugged out of the back of the microphone, causing it to have a little bit of static in the audio. So this is something that you kind of just gonna have to put up with in this video. It doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, it happens for like 30 seconds, and it really kind of bothers you a little bit. But I think the stories that we were talking about and the ways we were discussing things is worth just kind of putting it out there so you guys can see it. It's more off the cuff, and it's hard to refilm one of those. So I'm just publishing it. I hope you guys all enjoy. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video when I record with my mom, if I'm in it.
Control yourself, man! You can do it! I know you can! You have that ability! My parents have driven me nuts!
Hi everybody, this is Kat Miller from Blue Iris Learning Center.
And this is Brent from 77 Media.
Together we make Blue Iris 77 Media Learning Center thing. Or something. Anyway, I just wanted to make an interesting video with me and my mom talking back and forth and see where it leads. We have no plan. We're just winging it because that's how we roll.
Yes, I've always rolled that way, haven't I?
I don't know. I lost my wings, so I'm guessing so. I've winged it so many times, I've lost my wings.
Oh.
Dang it. Guess I'm not an angel anymore. My halo was low. Anyway, so I kind of, the first thing that's popping into my brain today is, I know for a long time when I was maybe no taller than what I was in 10th grade, which wasn't much shorter than I am now, but, I kind of started noticing people's energies and how that worked, and kind of started getting a little bit interested in energy work back then, but I didn't really talk about it because it was weird to say like that, I'll tell you that for sure. I'll probably bleep the shit out of that, but it was just definitely interesting to start noticing stuff like that. And I'm kind of wondering, I know my mom kind of can feel and see that stuff too. And I was going to poke her and say, when did you start noticing weird things like that, Mom?
Huh? Well, I've always had some kind of a connection. I have had what I call future echoes, where I've seen something that is coming. And I think, personally, when you see a future echo like that, that's just my word for it. That's an opportunity, if you don't like what you see, to change something. Because the butterfly effect?
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly here flapping its wings changes something in China.
Yeah.
What if a future echo gives you an opportunity to make changes now that make it so that whatever it was you saw doesn't happen? I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you when, because I don't know.
So I had similar stuff like that happen when I was a kid. I remember still vividly that just a random memory that I have. Probably the first time I really remember it happening was in elementary school, and we were doing I think it was a softball thing where like the 6th graders or 5th graders got to play the teachers. And it was like a week before it, and I was supposed to be the catcher and all this, and I had a really bad vision that if I was the catcher, I was going to get smashed in the face by the teacher swinging the bat. And so, this is a week away, and I decided at that point that I wasn't going to be the catcher anymore. So I went and told him I don't want to be the catcher. I want to be the third base person. I said, well, we already have a third base. We have someone else to be catcher. So I ended up just watching the game. which was fine by me. And sure enough, man, like the 8th inning of the one of the teachers came up to bat, the one that I had seen smashing me in the face. He swung around and smashed the kid in the face with a baseball bat. Dude busted open his face, bleeding everywhere, and I'm like, well, that was a little bit too close to home. So I was like, okay, that's something that stuck with me for a long time. It's like, I saw something I didn't want to have happen to me because I'd been hit in the face with a baseball bat when we lived in apartments back in the day. I remember that too. And I remember what that felt like. So I was like, yep, changing it. And I guess I effectively did because I didn't end up with a smashed in face.
Interesting.
So I don't know if I ever told you guys that, but surprise, that's one that happened to me.
Yeah, the little things like that. I've had interesting things. As I got into the energy healing work, the natural healing and the total body modification and such, I started really seeing a lot more and being more in touch with things. And as I began to develop my own energy vials, the first one that came up was the Emotional Freedom Vial, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that's the first one you were working on.
And that was fascinating. I had reading of Dr. Mercola's website, and he was talking about the emotional freedom technique, and I was already doing the techniques, the TBM and natural healing techniques and such, and had people coming that I was working on, and I started to integrate the emotional freedom technique stuff in with that. And wow, it was powerful, it was fun, and I knew how to create vials. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we made a vial that energetically did the emotional freedom vial or technique? And that was the birth of the emotional freedom vial.
Yeah, I remember that because you started making it into everything. I think we have pillows. I think we have necklaces. I remember all sorts of things suddenly becoming available. I think that you guys still have it all on your website, your Blue Wires Biz website.
Well, the pillows were just the rescue.
Oh, that's right, rescue remedy
pillows. Yeah, those that came in. Oh, sweet little granddaughter, Cam-Marie.
2007-ish?
Probably.
She's getting
no,
old.
she's 2006.
That's right.
Yeah. But she she was using a big book as a booster on a chair.
Yeah.
And it dropped on her foot. And she didn't let anybody get anywhere near her foot. And nobody could do anything for her foot, any of the energy healing stuff that we do. And I had the rescue vial. I tried to, just you can put it on the toe. And she, no. Anyway, her mama, my daughter, took the emotional freedom vial and she made a pillow.
Yep.
And Cam-Marie let us put the pillow on her toe.
Yep.
Voila. There we go.
Yep.
And so we have that. When it came to the flower energies, that was kind of interesting. I found threes. Things come in threes. If you see it once, okay. If you see it again very shortly, why? You see it a third time,
Pay attention.
it's time to really look into it. And I had never heard of the Bach flowers. So when somebody said something about Bach flowers to me, I didn't pay it much attention. Then somebody else said something about them. And then a friend of mine who had been at one of the TBM seminars with me was chatting with me, and he told me, Kat, there's something that you are doing that you need to do, that you just need to do. And it's big and it looks like there is someone or some energy or something that may be there trying to block you from doing it, you do it anyway. Thanks, Nathan.
Yep.
That was the day I realized that the flower energies needed to be done. And it was really a fascinating experience working with them. The Bach flowers were just, it took me over a month to insert all of the Bach flowers into the flower energies vial.
Yep.
And it was like they needed it to be in a specific order. And when I actually went to put beech, I think it was beech, in, it burned my hand when I picked up the vial, because I had to put them in their own vials first, and then add them from those vials into the flower energies vial. And beech didn't want to be there with everybody else. Oh well.
Life is a beach.
And I was so proud of myself. Look, I've got it done. This is cool, Donnelly. Look.
It's on fire.
And she just looked at me and she said, what about the North American flowers?
Yeah, that sounds like Donnelly. She was an awesome lady.
Oh, yes, I miss Donnelly. But so shortly after we did the Bach flowers, we did North American flowers, and then over years, additional flowers came in. Donnelly developed many of the flowers that we have in the flower energies vial. Mm-hmm. And she came to me one time and told me that, Kat, you need to rename the vial to just energies or something, because I'm getting other parts like olive branch, and I think there was raspberry leaf, and I couldn't rename it. And what came to me almost immediately when she said that was the definition basically that we have for flower, the switchword flower, which, by the way, this was all going on before I found switchwords.
Yep.
And I responded to her, well, to flower is to bloom, is to open yourself up to the world and all of that. And so these energies, the flower energies, are all about opening yourself up like a flower does. And so it remains the flower energies vial. And it's just, it's awesome to do that. But I've had all kinds of interesting things come along in working with the vials. There was one time, you guys, you and Amber were coming up to Salt Lake. Yeah. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Good morning. Yeah.
And I'm told that I need to develop a new vial.
Top of the morning to you.
And I was like, why? And why now? And all of that. It's like, okay. Kat accepts it.
Well, this is probably one of the times that me and the wifey ran up to visit and told no one, so we just jumped in the car and went. We did that a few times before we had a kid.
Yeah. Anyway, I had this most bizarre conversation, because most of the time when I do a vial, when I have a new vial come in, I name it first. I have a name. And then what it is begins to flow. So I asked, what's the name? It gets crazy. I started to feel like Abbott and Costello, because I asked, what is the name? Yes. Okay, the vial's name is Yes. Cool. No. No. The vial's name's No. No. Well, then what is the vial's name? Yes. Huh? You told me the vial's name is not yes. No, it's not yes. Well, then what is it? Yes. Flustered, frustrated. Whatever. Exactly.
Yep.
The whatever vial was born that day. I don't remember what year that was.
I'm gonna guess sometime.
I think it was around
2004 or 5, maybe.
Yeah, probably. It was you guys came up toward the end of July, or maybe the 1st of July. It might have been over Independence Day, or it might have been.
Yeah, I think we decided to do a road trip, and I had a PTO burning a hole in my soul to go use.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that day, whatever was born, and I didn't sell that vial for a really long time. I didn't know how to describe it, because what it does is it goes and it searches for an issue, it finds the issue, it becomes the issue, and at that point it exaggerates it, and so you really feel an increase in whatever, and that lasts maybe 30 seconds or something like that, and then it clears it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to describe that, so I didn't sell it. I wasn't selling it. And then Rhoda, she orders some vial. I don't remember what. And I just have this thing where if it's Rhoda, I send her something else, right? I sent her a whatever vial. Her son stole it.
For whatever reason, her son stole it.
When he left home for whatever reason to go, he was young adult, and I think it's the one that was living out of in another country. Anyway, he took it, and so she wanted it replaced, and she wanted to know how much to pay for it, and so on, and whatever. Anyway, it was interesting. Eventually, I found it was important to give it some kind of a description, and it's not a why. I don't know. The description is there on the website, but I basically said what it is. It's not heavily documented, but there it was.
So if you're curious what the whatever vial's for, it's for whatever ails you. Whatever.
And the post office won't let me label the package that way. Yeah. I once showed up for an international mailing, and on the customs form I'd written whatever vial. And the clerk looked at that, looked at me. What's the vial? I said, or what is this? I said, it's called whatever. She said, I'm sorry, but you can't mail it labeled that way. So now it's the WV on the label. Because it's crazy what they have done on that. And so, anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, interesting. So, a little bit of background on where I come from, why I find it interesting that I got into energy work is, I'm an engineer, and so to me, I have a very logical train of thought, and then I have this tangent where it's that has nothing to do with logic. It's just energy stuff that I do, and I don't really mix the two. I don't talk about that at work or anything, but I find it weird that I'm able to just kind of take that, divide and bridge it, and not care, and just keep going through doing things. I know you came out of the medical background, which it seems to me anymore, all the medical people are like, that's energy work, that's not real, even though, most of the medical stuff in the world started in that fashion, but, don't remind them of history. Mm-hmm. It's like Jesus laid hands on people and healed them. We accept that, but, if we did that now, it'd be like, no, that's not medically valid. Whatever, people. It's like they're perfectly okay accepting the magical book of everything, and then, when we talk about being able to do the same type of stuff, they're like, no, that doesn't work, it's all fake. And it's like, okay.
My entry into the energy work came at the hands of my daughter, who had severe allergies in the early 2000s. And she first talked about it, I think, in March of 2002. And by July to August, she was withering away. My daughter would not talk to me for a long time on the phone. And I found she was calling me frequently and talking long. There was something going on. I decided to come down to Tucson and help get things squared away and taken care of. And we found a doctor up in Scottsdale, which is about an hour and a half or so away from here, that did environmental medicine work. And he was making a difference. She said that she would, a day or two after his treatments, she would just feel all the toxins and be miserable for a couple of days, and then she'd feel good until she got another exposure, and then it'd be tumble again. By November, so here we are, August, September, October. It's the first part of November. Her birthday's in early November. Daddy was coming down with Grandma and Aunt Julie for her birthday.
Yep.
And we were going to trade places. We were not sure what we were going to do. But just before they came down, I found an article from Dr. George Rapp, who was an allergist in New York City, that talked about an 8-year-old boy who had massive allergies, and every time she would get things to a good point with him, he would crash within a week or two. And she had gotten a call from his mother saying that there was a doctor up in Canada that cleared his allergies. She said, "You call me back in a month, because I know this kid. He'll be back." No. She called her.
Kid's fine. Yep.
And it was that testimonial that got me to call total body modification, because that is the technique that she had used. And it just so happened that at the time their headquarters were in the Salt Lake Valley. I wound up referred to the son of the developer of TBM. In fact, there's another experience that went on there. They kept giving me names of doctors: Logan, Bountiful, West Jordan, and all kinds of areas up in the northern Utah area. And I kept asking for more. And then they gave me Dr. Frank's name. And I said, okay, I want his information. It was just, this is the one I need to see.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Randy Frank, I'm assuming?
Yep, Randy Frank. Anyway, when I got home, I called Dr. Frank, and we talked. And I wound up bringing Camille up to Salt Lake to see him at Thanksgiving that year. And in no time flat, he had cleared her allergies. It was just an astounding thing. And at the time, I was running Precision Typing, a medical transcription company, and I had been a medical assistant since my early 20s.
Yep.
And this was freaking me out.
Yeah.
Because it just did a 180-degree turn on me. My whole life turned. And now, I don't do the medical transcription. I have learned both total body modification and natural healing, which he's calling, what's he calling it now?
No, natural.
No, it's EQ,
I don't remember.
energy, quantum.
I haven't been in touch
healing
with Randy
techniques.
for a long time, so.
Anyway, he's changed the name. He's now living in Germany. In fact, he left Salt Lake not long after we saw him. It was like everything was just lined up just right.
Yep.
And so when you get those inspirations Listen.
Yeah, so my side of that story, or I've been helping my sister for almost half a year or more. I was at work. She works at the same company I work at, and she sat somewhat near me. And one day, she came over and was talking to me, and she was best way to describe it. There's white as a ghost, and then there's this other color of white that's just more white, and that's what she was. She looked terrible. She had she knew she had some problems with milk, and so she took some lactate and had some stuff with dairy in it, and she literally looked terrible. She came by to let me know she wasn't feeling too good, and then she said she was going to go to the bathroom and be back, and like 45 seconds later, I kid you not, the bathroom was just around the corner from where my desk is. A lady comes into my cube and said, "Hey, are you Brent?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Hey, your sister is on the floor in the bathroom and is not looking too good. I need help." And I grabbed my buddy that sat next to me. We went into the ladies' room, picked up my sister, and took her out to a guard shack and called 911. And she went to the hospital. So this is what broke my confidence in Western medicine, so to speak. When I came and picked up my sister from the hospital, because they figured out what was going on. Her discharge was, quote unquote, "You seem to be lactose intolerant. You should take Lactaid." When the doctor handed that to me, I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, "Are you telling me that my sister should take Lactaid that she took, which sent her to the hospital? Are you serious right now?" He turned kind of white and red and some other colors and just left. Didn't say anything else. Like, I called him out on his lies, and he didn't pay attention. He didn't read anything. He didn't know what was going on. It's like he didn't care. And at that point, I'm like, wow, these guys suck. Straight up suck. And so that was kind of a turning point for me. It's like, maybe doctors don't have a clue what the heck they're actually talking about if they're not really looking into the person. And so, when my mom called me from Salt Lake saying that they were going to be dragging my sister up there, and I knew my sister had a hard time going in cars, I'm like, you guys are crazy. You're going to do that to her? Because, driving through all that crap through the states and all that coming in, and, she's allergic to everything. And
evolutionary quantum healing techniques. There you go. Evolutionary quantum healing techniques.
Randy, thank you for changing the name so we would never remember it, if you happen to watch this. Anyway, so we, my mom calls me up and says what they're going to do, and I had more or less bought a car that replaced a car that was perfectly fine that I had given to my parents. Well, they just they took over the loan payments. I gave it to them, and they just drove the snot out of that poor car. My dad took that thing, threw my sister in it, and overnight, I want to say they left at like 10 at night, and we're in Salt Lake.
10 in the morning, got there.
Yeah, it was the other way around. 10 in the morning, got there at 10 at night, and my dad just full throttled all the way to Salt Lake to make sure my sister got there for the treatment she was supposed to be. Now, the challenging part of that was she was supposed to drink like a gallon or something of water a day. And so, she hadn't been drinking water like that for a really long time. So the first thing that happens when you start doing something like that is you start having to pee everywhere because your body is like, wow, I have water. I need to flush all these toxins. And so I'm sure my dad had to stop at least 75 times on the way to Salt Lake.
Felt like that, I'm sure.
Every gas station was a pit stop, and not necessarily for gas. Anyway, my mom calls me, and they made it on time for the appointment they had with Randy Frank. And I think that was the day before Thanksgiving, I want to say
it was Saturday.
It was a week. I don't know.
It was Sunday. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Either way,
it may have been the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Anyway, I get a phone call, and I was at work when you guys called me, so I know that it was a work day. Because the phone call I got, my mom said, "You'll never guess where we are." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "We're at Tony Roman's, and your sister just ate a plate of ribs." And I said, "My sister."
She saw him on a Saturday.
Yep.
Tony Romo was Sunday.
Maybe it was.
No,
I was at work.
No.
I don't know.
You guys drove up Friday or Saturday.
Yeah,
all
it doesn't
day.
matter.
But,
Doesn't matter. But the phone call I got was, "Your sister's eating Tony Romo's. We're at a restaurant." And I said, "You're lying to me because my sister can't go anywhere." And this was literally the next day after she got worked on, and she's been pretty much okay since then. She has relapses every now and then, but since when Randy did this to her and did all that, my mom got interested in learning it, and because I chatted with Randy on and off, and we clicked. So me, my sister, my wife, and my brother-in-law all got kind of passed to not necessarily be medical people and show up to these seminars. So we went and learned what they were doing because I was really interested to just understand it. I don't use it as, I don't treat people like, medically or whatever. I just do things for friends randomly. And I've had a few instances where I've had friends around while I'm working where, they'll do something silly where they'll eat something they're allergic to, and I've been able to make it so that they won't have a reaction. I don't tell them what I do, and I just say, hey, I got a technique I can do that'll probably make it so you won't have issues. And, one of the ones that happened, and, if he ends up watching this, Sean, my good buddy lives in the neighborhood with me actually now. We were in Camden, Arkansas doing some stuff, and we went to the store, I went and got lunch, and he's definitely allergic to vinegar, and they put pickles on his hamburger. He ate the hamburger, and after the first bite, he realized that there was pickles in it, and he was all freaking out, and I said, dude, come here. And I did some natural healing techniques on him, and he never had a problem that day. He didn't blow up, nothing. He was fine. Whether or not that's stuck or not, I don't know. I'm sure he still believes he's allergic to vinegar, which is fine. I'm not going to say he is or is not. But he didn't have any problems that day. So, I accept it. There's a divergence between spirituality and my logical brain that just says, whatever, dude. It works, use it. So, I use it when I use it. I don't offer it, I don't sell it. I use it for my friends if they're in need of something. And I say, hey, I got something that might help you. Would you mind if I tried it? And see what happens. So that's kind of how I do it. And I know for my mom, being medical field forever, is completely 180 from what she's used to doing.
Oh,
so
yeah, totally.
So yeah, I don't mind the gap. It doesn't bother me having something so divergent that still works for me. So whatever, I don't care. I just run with it. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, the body has energy flowing through it.
Yep.
And the general idea is if there's a disruption in the energy, then the body's not going to be healing itself well. It's not going to stay well.
Yep.
And back in the 60s and 70s, we had George Goodhart of Applied Kinesiology, John Ty, who wrote a book that most massage therapists know inside out, Touch for Health, and Viktor Frankl of Total Body Modification. Those three were together a lot, along with a lot of the chiropractors that were trained by D.D. Palmer himself, the father of chiropractics.
Yep.
And they went their different ways, and they helped each other a lot.
Yeah, they did.
Dr. Frank was on Applied Kinesiology's board for a period of time. He also helped John Ty in his book. If you read in the introductory stuff, you'll see Viktor Frankl mentioned there. And they all had their own focuses, and they all went about doing things their own way.
They did.
And so
I enjoyed working with Viktor Frankl. I'll never forget the one seminar. We were in Phoenix, and he had pulled one of his back muscles, and he heard or figured out somehow that I knew how to really do good muscle massages and get rid of cramps fast. And we're at intermission, I think before lunch sometime, and he just drags me up to his hotel room and makes me work on him. It's like, how in the hell? How do you know I know this? Because this is something that that I hadn't shared with anybody. I knew how I figured out through experience how muscles work and how to work out knots and whatnot. And I never trained in it, but I know how to do it. And he figured it out and made me do that for him. And spent 20 minutes or something just talking with him and picking his brain while I was working out stuff for him. And I got along well with him. He was an entertaining guy, and it's really sad that he's already gone, but he was a little older, I suppose. But
he was 75 when he passed.
Yeah, but I got along well with him. I thought he was entertaining. Me and his son got along well too. So Randy's an entertaining fellow. Different kind of attitude to the world, but I like that. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I think we've been rambling long enough. We should probably say bye. So from Kat at Blue Iris Learning Center, I say bye.
And from Brent at 77 Media, bye.
Like and subscribe to the channel.